Hello students, welcome to the 7th session of Software Engineering Unit 3. In today's session, I am going to explain one of the best project cost estimating approach, that is bottom-up estimation. Before moving on, let's brief on the previous session topics. In the previous session, we have learned effort estimation and top-down approach. Effort estimation is the process of predicting the most realistic amount of effort required to develop a software based on the available information. These available information may be incomplete, uncertain, noisy, or unclear. 3 early estimates are needed to be predicted for a project, that is effort, duration and cost. In effort, people month required to complete the project is estimated. Out of these 3, effort hours must be estimated first. Once we understand the effort required, we can assign the resources to determine how long a project will take, and then we can estimate labor and non-labor cost. For example, if the project effort estimate is 12,000 hours, then 7 to 8 people required with the full-time project manager by 1800 hours of work schedule. That is the 15% of total hours. If the estimate is 1000 hours, then management time would be approximately 150 hours. And for this estimated hours, we need to add the contingency hours used to reflect the risk or uncertainty or the unpredicted future events of maybe 50 to 75%. If you have done this project many times before, then contingency would be very small, like 5%. In the previous session, we have learnt top-down estimation, which is used at the very initial stage of development, and it is less accurate. Top-down estimation defines breaking or decomposing the whole estimation into smaller units. Here, the estimation is done by constructive cost model. In short, it is COCOMO model. Let's have an instance to better understand why this top-down approach is very less accurate. Let's consider you have been given rupees 2000 by your parents in order to purchase your 5th semester textbooks and stationeries. This amount is given to you by estimating the previous semester expenditure on the textbooks and stationeries. Hence, this estimation is a result of historical data. After getting 2000 rupees, next step is to decompose this amount for different modules. In this case, for different item purchase, we can say. So let's reserve rupees 200 for notebook purchase out of 2000. Rupees 1000 for textbook purchase. And rupees 200 for pen, pencil and stationery shopping. Finally, rupees 600 for bag and shoe purchase. Once the amount has been decomposed into different modules, the next step is to identify the activities or to perform the actual activity at the granule level, that is in the lower level. So hence we need to purchase 3 textbooks under textbook module, that is T1, T2 and T3. When you actually go and start buying the textbooks, you will come to know the actual price of the textbooks. That is, T1 costs around 500 rupees, T2 costs around 300 rupees and T3 price is around 300 rupees. So here you need total of 1100 rupees for textbook purchase. But you have reserved rupees 1000 for textbook purchase only. In the same way, when you go to buy notebook, you will come to know the actual price of notebook. N1 is 100 and N2 is 50. So here you can save rupees 50. And in pen pencil purchase, you can save rupees 100 because it costs only 100 and you have reserved 200, the double of the actual amount. Finally, for bag and shoe purchase, you need 400 for bag and 500 for shoe. Here you are getting shortage of 300 rupees. So after the actual activity execution, you have encountered that you need extra 100 for textbook purchase and extra 300 rupees for bag and shoe purchase. But here you have understood that you can save rupees 150 from notebook and pen pencil purchase. So finally you are getting a shortage of rupees 250. So what you will do now? You have to modify the amount reserved earlier for each task. That is 1100 for textbooks, 1050 for notebook, 100 for pen pencil and 900 for bag and shoes. By summing up the modified amount of each module, we can modify the overall amount needed as 2250 rupees. And then you can ask for the remaining amount by your parents for the complete shopping. Here what we have understood, when we have started from top to bottom without knowing the actual activity cost, we have got the less accurate estimation. We have got the shortage of money. But when we are executing the activity at the lower level, we have come across the actual cost of each activity. And then we have again moved from bottom to top for the accurate cost estimation. In this example, I have used both top-down and bottom-up estimation. First, we have moved from top to bottom and the result was less accurate. Then again we have moved from bottom to top, where we have got the more accurate cost estimation. By now you have understood why we need bottom-up estimation. Let's discuss more on bottom-up estimation approach. In today's session, we are going to learn what is bottom-up estimating, the steps, a case study, advantages and disadvantages, and the difference between top-down versus bottom-up approach. Bottom-up estimating is a technique in project management for estimating the cost or duration of projects and also parts of a project. Overall project effort estimation is computed as sum of estimates of all of its modules. It is a activity based estimation approach, and hence we can say bottom up approach is a detailed estimating approach with accurate estimation. These are the steps used in bottom up cost estimation approach. Initially, we need to identify the different modules in the projects and classify these modules into simple, medium and complex type based on some criteria such as the size, complexity, number of people involved in the project, etc. The third step is to getting the total effort as sum of effort for individual modules. See here, E is a total effort that is calculated by summing up EM1, that is estimation of module 1, EM2, EM3 and up to EMN for n number of modules. This activity effort estimation is done by using the past data on similar completed projects. Finally, refine these estimates on total effort distribution. Here is a diagram which depicts clearly the bottom-up approach estimating, which consists of breakdown structure of a project which is divided into different phases of deliverable. And these phases are in turn divided into multiple work packages. These work packages has the lower level activities. So here the cost estimation is done for this lower level activity by the activity experts. And these activity cost estimations are aggregated to the upper levels. Finally, we are getting the project cost estimation. Let's consider a case study for estimating a cost of a wedding using bottom-up cost estimating. The problem says a wedding expects 200 guests. In that 40% need a hotel, 20% need vehicle for transportation, and there will be a music band for entertainment. The very first step is to identify the individual module or activity. As food is essential for wedding, let's have food as one module here. We need to estimate cost for food. Secondly, let's have function hall cost as another module. As 40% of the guests need to stay in hotel, hotel cost must have to be estimated. As 20% of guests need vehicle for transportation, let's have transportation cost as another module. The bride and groom wedding clothes are also essential. So let's have cost estimation for clothes too. For any wedding, decoration is a must. So decoration cost has to be estimated. And hence there is a music band for entertainment. We need to estimate band cost also. Finally, let's have other cost for miscellaneous expenditure. So after identifying all the modules, next step is to identify simple, complex and medium module. In this case, let's divide the modules into two groups. One as fixed group and another one as cost dependent on the number of guests. Here, function hall cost, clothes, decoration cost, band and band cost are fixed. Other costs are also fixed. It does not depend on the number of guests. The other modules, food, hotel and transportations, are obviously depends on the number of guests attending the wedding. Third step is to estimate the cost of each activity. The cost of food is estimated by number of guests multiplied by the cost of food per guest. The hotel cost is estimated by number of rooms multiplied by the cost per room. Here we need to know the number of rooms needed, which is calculated by number of guests requiring hotel divided by number of guests per room. Also, to know the number of guests required hotel, consider the problem statement. It says 40% of guest needs hotel. So we have number of guests as 200. 40% of that is 80. So number of guests requiring hotel is 40. 40% that is 80. Similarly, calculate cost for transportation. Number of vehicles needed multiplied by cost per vehicle. Again here, number of vehicle needed is calculated by percentage of guests requiring vehicle. 20% of 200 guests, that is 20 guests require vehicle, divided by number of guests per vehicle will give the total number of vehicles needed. The last step is to sum up all the module costs to get the total cost of our wedding. The sum of food, hotel and transportation gives us the total cost, which depends on the number of guests. The remaining modules sum up to give the fixed cost estimation. Finally, the sum of cost dependent on number of guests and fixed cost gives us the total cost of wedding. Here is the final solution of the case study represented in an Excel file. Total fixed cost is around 2,20,000. Food cost is 20,000. Hotel cost is 80,000 and transportation cost is 9,000. The total wedding cost estimated here is 3,29,000. Let's see the advantages of bottom-up cost estimating approach. This approach is very accurate because team members are estimating the cost of an activity which they are responsible for. They typically have the most knowledge of their work package. Their estimates are much more accurate than top-down estimates. This approach is very simple and used for small projects. estimation errors can balance out across the components of projects. This approach is used in conjunction with other estimation techniques such as top-down, which is also called as analogous approach, and also with the parametric approach, which is a scalar approach. Let's see the disadvantages. The underlying assumption is that the project estimate consists of the sum of its modules. This may ignore overhead and integration efforts that may occur in addition to the work defined in activities. This holds for large and complex projects in particular. The bottom-up estimation itself requires a lot more resources than other techniques such as top-down estimation. The cost estimation here is based on the duration estimate. Both depends on the estimated resource requirements. Thus, an estimation error there would lead to inaccurate time and cost estimates as well. In practice, bottom-up estimates can be biased to the interest of the estimators. While this applies to all types of estimates, it may be less manageable in bottom-up estimating. This is because these estimations are usually done by many different estimators, that is, those responsible for a work package. The difference between top-down versus bottom-up cost estimation. In top-down, it refers to the past similar project to estimate the cost of the entire project at once. Whereas in bottom-up, it refers to the past similar project activity to estimate the cost of the individual activity. In top-down, initial estimates is divided into individual tasks, whereas in bottom-up, activity estimates are combined to estimate entire project cost. In top-down, expert judgment can be applied at any level of granularity, but in bottom-up, it is applied at only lower level of granularity. Let's solve few MCQs on today's session topics. Question number 1. Estimation of size for a project depends on option A cost, option B time, option C schedule, option D none of the mentioned. Guess the answer, students. Yes, you guessed it right. The answer is option D, none of the mentioned. See here, project size, small, medium and large, is defined based on the total financial resources available and number of team members involved, number and size of deliverables to be produced, complexity of the deliverable, time frame involved in delivery. As the size increases, the complexity also increases. Hence, the answer for this question is option D, none of the mentioned. Question number 2. Project cost management plan is created as a part of project management plan process, estimate cost process, option C determine budget process, option D control cost process. Guess the answer. The correct answer is project management plan process. See here, project management plan is a formal document defines how a project is going to be carried out. It defines scope, goal, budget, timeline and deliverables. It is essential to keep project on track. Whereas project cost management plan is a method of strategizing the planning and execution of project's budget. This is done to complete the project on time and on estimated budget. Here, estimating cost process, determine budget process, control cost process, everything comes under project management process itself. Hence, the correct option for this question is option A, project management plan process. Question number 3. Analogous cost estimating is option A, generally accurate, option B, generally less accurate, option C, uses statistical relationship between historical data and other variables. Option D, bottom-up estimating. The correct answer for this is generally less accurate. Analogy means compare. It is considered as top-down. It is a technique used to estimate a cost based on historical data of past similar completed projects and experts' judgment or by experts' experience, which is less accurate. Parametric estimation uses option C, that is statistical relationship between historical data and other variables. Hence, here the correct answer is option B, generally less accurate. We have already seen that bottom-up estimation gives us most accurate estimation. So, hence the correct answer here is generally less accurate. Question number 4. Which is not true about analogous cost estimating? Option A, uses expert judgment. B, used when reference projects are similar. Option C, does not require high expertise on part of estimation as estimates are based on previous projects. Useful in early phase of projects. Let's see the answer. Yes, you have guessed it right, students. The correct option for this question is option C, does not require high expertise on part of estimators as estimates are based on previous projects. As analogous estimation is done initially by historical data and also by the expert judgment on whole system, not on the part of the system, it is useful in early phases. Hence, option C is the correct answer. That is, does not require high expertise on part of estimators. As estimators are based on, as here the estimates are based on previous projects. Let's see question 5. Which of the following are parameters involved in computing the total cost of a software development project? Option A, hardware and software cost. Option B, effort cost. Option C, travel and training cost. Option D, all of the mentioned. Let's see the answer for this. Yes, you guessed it right, students. The correct answer for this is option D, all of the mentioned. Hardware and software cost is used for the cost estimation. Effort is defined as person month or money required to develop a system. Travel and training costs are also included in the total cost estimation. So here option D, all of the mentioned is the correct answer. Question number 6. Which of the following costs is not part of the total effort cost? Costs of networking and communications, costs of providing heating and lighting office space, costs of lunchtime food, costs of support staff. Here, option C, the cost of lunchtime food is clearly the answer, because the cost of networking and communication, providing heating and lighting, office space, and cost of support staff are all essential factors for total cost estimation. Hence, option C is the right answer. Let's see our 7th question. It is often difficult to estimate size at any early stage in a project when only a specification is available. Option A, true. Option B, false. See, along with the specification available, staffing requirements, complexity and related parameters defines size of the project. Hence, the given statement is true. Last question of this session. You are the project manager of the XYZ project. Your project is falling behind schedule and you have already spent 5 lakh rupees of your 8 lakh rupees budget. What do you call the 5 lakh rupees? Option A, planned value. Option B, present value. Option C, sunk value. Option D, capital expenditure. Guess the answer for this, students. Here the answer for this is option C, sunk value. See, planned value is the value planned for expenditure. Present value is the earning generated by a project or investment. Sunk value is the money already been spent and cannot be recovered. Capital expenditure is a money used by the company to acquire, upgrade, and maintain physical assets such as property, buildings, technology, or equipments. Hence, the correct option is C, sunk value. In the next session, we will be discussing project scheduling and staffing and also quality planning. These are the references which I have used to create this content. Do join with me for the next session. Thank you, students.